All right, I just turned the recorder on, so it must be official. We must have started already. So I would like to thank Amberly Bucci for coming today. She is an award-winning digital marketer, not just a digital marketer, which already is challenging. And today she's going to share with us 20 tips to increase your website traffic, leads, and sales. And who can't benefit from some more leads. So before we get started, I need to do a little housekeeping. And let's see if I can get it. Yep, there we go. So just what is SCORE? If you've never heard of SCORE, I haven't done my job very well as the education chair, but SCORE is a 50+ year organization that is a resource partner of the Small Business Administration, the SBA. And we provide free confidential business mentoring. In fact, I don't know if you want me to share this, but I am anyway, Amberly. Amberly was one of our clients, and she then very graciously agreed to give this webinar. Our chapter, the Minnesota chapter, has nearly 90 volunteers, and we serve Manatee and Sarasota counties, although we have many clients who are out of the area. So if you're interested in a mentor from our chapter, you can apply for that too. Our chapter recently has been recognized as a district chapter of the year. And since its founding in 1964, SCORE has assisted over 11 million clients. We can help you in all aspects of your business life. Whether you've just woken up with an idea and you would like to follow through and see if that's a possibility, contact us. We'll help you navigate and determine whether or not your idea has legs, as they say. Or you've started up and you just need a little help, maybe some marketing. We can help you with that. You want to grow your business? Yep, we can do that too. Or you're selling or closing a business. We actually have a team that will work with you if you're interested in selling or closing or even buying, because we can help work as an intermediary in that process. We encourage you to visit our website, minnesota.score.org. That's where you go to request a mentor. It's filling in a form and a mentor is assigned to you, and the process begins. If you want to find other workshops or upcoming events, there are options to do that. You can locate podcasts. Every one of our webinars, including this, is recorded, and we put those recordings on our website so that you can see them at any time. And lastly, we have lots of resources in our libraries, including templates. If you're interested in financial sheets or other documents, go to our website, do a search term is right at the top, and it's easy to find. Lastly, I want to thank our sponsors. Without them, we wouldn't have the lights on, and it would be very difficult for us to do our job. So thank you, our sponsors. And by the way, many of our sponsors, you'll note, are banks. And if you come into the bank having a SCORE mentor with you, it makes a big difference when applying for funds. So think about applying for a mentor, if you would, please. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to turn this over to Amberly, who's going to do an amazing job. I hope you're all ready with your pads and paper, because she's going to be knocking them off and knocking off these points. You will be getting a copy, a link to this webinar, and you will be getting a copy of her slides, but it's still always a good idea to take some notes. So I'm going to stop sharing, Amberly. Okay. And if you could pick up the next part and share your screen. Look at there.
Absolutely. Can you let me know if you can see my screen?
I can see your screen, and if you, yep, you're perfect.
Okay, wonderful.
Take it away.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the great introduction, and thank you for this opportunity. And everyone who is joining today, thank you for being here with me. My goal of this presentation is to inspire you and to teach you some new tips. Maybe there are some tips that you already know that it's a nice reminder, or maybe it's something new that you can implement tonight to help you grow your business business online. So thank you again for this opportunity, and let's get into 20 tips to increase website traffic, leads, and sales for your business. So very briefly, I'm Amberly Bucci. I own Amberly Bucci Digital Marketing, and I help businesses grow online. For the past 14 years, I've worked with a number of businesses to help them get more visibility and grow their traffic. And I love what I do. I'm a small business owner myself, so I know the progress and the challenge that is behind growing a business. I've done a lot of speaking, so conferences and workshops, and won some awards, and I want to share now all these ideas that I've learned throughout the years with you all. I've worked with some big companies such as Walt Disney World and Hilton and Marriott and Six Flags, but my favorite is working with small to mid-sized businesses, small local businesses, which is probably, who is here today. So let's jump into the agenda. We are going to cover the top digital marketing channels to market your small business on in 2022, as well as 20 tips to grow your leads, traffic, and sales online, as well as tips, tools, and case studies. Now, you all probably know why you need to do digital marketing, but here's just a nice reminder. It's a great way to get your products or services in front of a massive audience. Traditional marketing still works, but combined with digital marketing, it's very powerful. It helps you build brand awareness. It helps you connect with existing customers as well as new customers. You can laser target your ideal customer via ads, and I'll show you some examples in the presentation, how you can drill down to your exact ideal audience that you want to connect with. Digital marketing allows you to measure data and make improvements, and it's just proven to boost sales if you have a solid digital marketing strategy in place. But if you're just winging it and not really sure what you're doing, the results aren't really going to be there. But if you have a solid digital marketing strategy and a plan for your business, that's where you're going to find the best results. Now, let's see. I'm not sure if this is in the screen or not, but hopefully that's not blocking it. So this is digital marketing and the various channels that I would recommend a small business to be on. We are going to cover tips for each one of these. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to implement and be on all of these channels at once, especially if you are just starting. My recommendation is to really make sure one or two are working really well for you, and then move on to the next ones and add them on as you go on. So let's dive into tips for each one of these. So there's website design, video, email marketing, content marketing, PPC, which is pay-per-click, SEO, and social media. So let's get into the tips for each one. So the first one we're going to go over is website design. How can you optimize your website design for more leads, traffic, and sales? So the first one is to optimize your website so that it is beautifully designed, that it's responsive, meaning that it looks great on all devices. So iPad, phone, and your website. And it's a high converting site. So it's one thing just to have a website, but it's another thing to actually turn those visitors into leads where you get their contact info. And I'll show you some examples how to do that. But first, if your website is 10 years old, 15 years old, and you really need to update it, take a look at how you can optimize the visual aspect so that it looks professional. Here's an example of one website that we worked on. It has a beautiful video when someone first gets to the site, and it's very engaging. Here's another example of a beautiful website. And in this, it shows you 350 feet of beachfront in Lake George, near where I'm from originally. So I want you to think about how you can showcase your unique selling point in your hero image. Your hero image is that image you first see on your website. So think about, what do you do and how are you different from your competitors? Use that information and put that right on your homepage so that in 5 seconds or less, someone knows exactly what you offer as soon as they get to your site. Now, this is called the 5-second rule. And when someone comes to your website, do they know what you offer within 5 seconds? So for this example, it's like, yes, a beautiful resort on Lake George. So here's a test for you. Go to your website, and in 5 seconds or less, can someone understand exactly what you do? If not, you might want to change your homepage so that your website can pass the 5-second rule. Now, Something that I really, really stress about having a website is to stop selling. You don't want to just sell your products or services on your website. You really want to start to think how you can start helping your customers. So use your website as a place to help people, provide value for your audience. So here's a quick homework assignment. Make a list of 3 ways that you help your customers. Jot them down and then use that content to put onto your website. Now, here's an example that showcases how to not just sell, but to help. So here's an example of a pool company. So instead of just saying you need to buy a pool, here's a pool to buy, this client made a list of different questions that they get asked often. Now think about the questions that you get asked often about your business or your industry. Those are going to be your blog post titles. So for example, one question that was asked very often was, how much is a fiberglass pool? Or how much does it cost? Or how to shop a pool? So these are all questions that their customers were asking. So they decided to leverage their website and put content on there that helps their audience and answers these questions. Now it helps their audience, but it also helps you get found in search. So if your potential customers are searching for these questions, they might land on your website, get the answer to it, and at the bottom of the blog post, there's a form or something to get in touch or keep in contact with them. So think about what questions your customers ask you and how you can create content around that. Another example is to optimize the user experience. So very often I'm on a website, I might be thinking I'm in the consideration mode for maybe buying a product, but I'm not quite sure. I have a couple questions. So websites that have a live chat feature, for example, as you can see here on Mailchimp, at the bottom right of the website, there's a live chat feature. So if you have a question about the product or service, there's a live person that's right there ready to answer your question. So I have seen personally and with my clients that this helps move them down the funnel of conversion and helps them get more results too by having someone there to answer their questions. So turn your website visitors into leads. So getting website traffic, people coming to your website is good and all, but if they leave, what if they never come back? Sometimes people are busy or they're distracted. So you want to make sure that you capture their information. So capture visitors' contact info. How do you do that? So you do that with a lead magnet on your website. And I'll show you some examples of lead magnets in the next couple of slides, but here's one from Gap. Now, whether you are B2B, B2C, you're selling products or services, there's different lead magnets you can do. But for this one, you can see when you come to their website, there's a pop-up and they give you something. So in this case, it's a 25% coupon in exchange for your email address. So they're going to give you something in exchange of value and they get your email address. But the thing is here, now that they have your email address, you're not going to spam the potential customer. You're just going to keep on giving them value, whether it's a demo video or letting them know about a contest that's coming up, just nurturing that potential audience so they get to know who your business is. And then you're giving them something, of course, something of value that they will give away their email address for. Now, here's an example of lead magnets. This is blocking here, but hopefully you guys can see the title. Here's an example of lead magnet.
Nothing is blocking your screen. You're good, Everly.
Okay, thank you. Just on my end. Some lead magnets that you can do is either a white paper or a checklist. For example, I have 100 tips in a checklist of what to do for your online marketing, but maybe you have a checklist. Maybe you're at the Westin Hotel and you want to book more weddings. So you can create a checklist, top 10 things to do before your wedding. There's different things that you can create that will help your audience. You can do webinars similar to this one. Maybe it's a PowerPoint that has massive value that someone wants. Maybe it's a video or a tutorial or a demo. Maybe it's a coupon similar to how Gap did. It could be a toolkit, an ebook, or a free consultation, maybe a 15-minute discovery call to hop on. Leave your email address and we'll set up this call or a free trial, whatever it may be. Here's an example of my life coach, actually. She did a lead magnet. Get our 5 ways to add joy to your life, tips for free. and you fill out your email address, you get this great piece of value, and now you're in basically essentially their funnel, but you're not going to spam them. And one tip that I've seen that helps with conversions is if the person is looking at the form. This is just a technique that we use as marketers to kind of drive your eyes to what they want you to do. So here's another example. And if you're curious, there's a link I included, 20 best examples of lead magnets for your business. So I encourage you to check this out, and maybe it will inspire an idea for your own lead magnet. Here's another one example of mine, 100 ways to boost your sales online. This really helps build your email list so that you can nurture your potential customers. Okay, so now another website tip is to add a clear call to action button on your homepage. So a call to action, we also call it CTA, is a button that states exactly what you want your customers to do next. So for example, it could be contact us for a free estimate, get 50% off, book now, download this free tip sheet. Here's an example of a paint and sip studio in Saratoga Springs, and it's book your seats now. So does your homepage in your hero image state exactly the CTA of what you want them to do? Here's another example of a client that does painting and construction. So get started today. As soon as they click on that button, it brings them to the page where they fill out the form to get a free quote. So you kind of have to guide them along to push them where you want them to be. Here's an example of mine. So learn how that you can leverage my digital marketing services. So think about what you can do to tweak your website just a little bit to push them down the funnel, the marketing funnel. And I'll show you an example of that as we move forward. Next, I want you to leverage your testimonials. So if people absolutely love what you offer, your services and your products, and they told you this, they've emailed you or they have Google reviews, think about all these positive testimonials you have and leverage them. So here's an example from Marie Forleo. I absolutely love her. She's a motivational speaker. She's an entrepreneur. She's really inspiring. But on her website, you can see she has a picture of someone, one of her customers, that personalizes it. And then also the testimonial to the right here. Thank you, Marie, the team and community for giving me words and tools to make this massive change. And then her name, and then also her location. Location is good too if you're a small local business, because this is going to help you with SEO purposes, helping you to rank higher in Google for your local area. So, maybe this week you're going to collect your testimonials and see how you can add them to your website. So those are just a few tips to optimize your website. Now we're going to move on to social media. So for small businesses, I would recommend these 6 social media platforms. And again, you do not have to be on all of them, but these are the main platforms that I see for small businesses, whether you're B2B or B2C. And one question I get often is, which one should I be on? Well, really is where your customers are at. You have to think about their demographics, their interests, their age groups, and do a little bit of research to see what platforms you should be on. Maybe it will take a little testing. But Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, and Pinterest. These are the top 6 that I would recommend. Now, the beauty of social media marketing is that everything can be tracked, and that's what I love. I see a lot of businesses that come to me and they want to do social media marketing, but they're just kind of throwing up content up and they don't really have a solid social media plan, or they're not even looking at their data. And that is when the results aren't so good. When you actually have a plan that you can work from on a month-to-month basis, and then you look at the data, that is really when you can optimize and tweak your campaigns to improve them to get better results. So if you're just kind of winging it, I've seen that winging it doesn't really bring the best results, but you need a plan. Here's just some examples. I'm really big on case studies to kind of pull back the curtains and show you guys behind the scenes. Here's an e-commerce client where their sales went up because of specifically Facebook and Instagram campaigns. So I love that you can have the data to show what is working and what is not. Now, here are the ABCs of social media marketing, just to simplify it. The first one is A. So it's all about bringing awareness to your business. If you are a new business, or even if you're established a little bit, you still always are in the mode of building awareness, right? So that's the first one, is to get people to know that you exist. and to get them a little bit interested in what you're offering. People aren't usually going to convert right away as soon as they see you on social media. It takes some time to build that know, like, and trust factor. And that's what brings us to B. So build relationships with your target audience. So this is where you can continuously create value for them, to engage with them, talk with them, answer their questions. So then it brings us to C, is to create a community of people who rave about your products or services, people who generally love to communicate with you on a regular basis. And to do this, you want to inspire, you want to entertain, and you want to educate your audience. I like to put down 3 columns: inspire, entertain, and educate. And what kind of different pieces of content can I do for each one of those columns? Maybe inspiration content can be, these case studies. Education could be a tip. Whatever it is, think about what you can do for your business to inspire, educate, and entertain. Now, here's a quick little helpful checklist. I know very often we may get stuck on what content to post on social media. And sometimes just referring back to a helpful checklist will spark an idea for you. So here's a helpful list. One you can do is FAQ Fridays. So every Friday you can jump on maybe Facebook Live, or maybe it's just a post on Instagram, and you answer a commonly asked question that your customers have. Or you can tell your audience, hey, I'm jumping on live at 2 p.m. on Friday. If you have questions about our products or services, we would love to help answer them. Jump on and we're going to answer questions live. So they have something to look forward to. And then you can take that piece of video and chop it into smaller pieces for content for social media. You can promote your services if you have a special or promotion going on. One big one is to highlight your happy customers. So showcasing them using your product or service or a testimonial. Really showcasing your customers are really important to build that trust factor with other people. Testimonials and tips and blog posts. If you can have older blog posts that have a lot of value and they're evergreen, meaning they're valuable at all times, it's not specifically timely, go back to your old blog posts, maybe update them a little bit, and then share that link on social media. Videos, contests, behind the scenes. If you want to highlight your employees, showcasing your employees and how they're a wonderful part of the team, you can do that. Facebook Live. There's so many different ideas that you can do. So a Facebook Live study that I've done, this is a really small restaurant in upstate New York. And I just wanted to show you that even if you're a small business, you still have power to get your name out in front of a lot of people. That's the beauty of digital marketing, is that we can now compete with the big dogs that have a big budget. We can just do something small. So here's an example. We did a Facebook Live, we went behind the scenes, and we showcased how he made a certain product at this small little restaurant, and it reached over 27,000 people with just one Facebook Live. I think it was a minute long. So think about what you can do. Maybe pull the curtains back in your business. Maybe you're planning a fun project, or maybe you are announcing a brand new product that you have this year. Pull back the curtains and maybe do a Facebook Live, and people will engage with that and they'll get to know you on another level. So leverage social proof. So here's an example of combining a testimonial, but also with an image. So let's say someone really raved about your pizza store. You can include the testimonial and a picture of a slice of pizza that makes people want to drool. So think about how you can leverage social proof, a testimonial, and an image together for a piece of content for your social media. And here's just another example of love this client, and she's just showcasing like behind the scenes moments and just capturing photos. It doesn't always have to be a person or a video of someone talking. It can just be some snapshots behind the scenes of what's going on at your business. So don't be afraid to share what's going on. People will love to see it. So if I had to condense all my social media tips into a mini checklist, this is what it would be. Number one, absolutely develop a plan. So a social media strategy. So don't just, wing it and hope for the best. I would recommend starting with a 30-day plan. So for example, today's June 1st. So what are your goals for June? Are you going to want to post 3 or 4 times per week? Are you going to want to post on these channels? Maybe you would like to create 2 videos. Be very, very specific of what your goals are, and maybe like how many people you're going to reach that you hope to get, or maybe 2 more clients. Be very specific and have a plan. And then create a content calendar. So thinking of those different buckets, I call them, or categories. So you have, for example, behind the scenes, FAQs, tips. Those are the 3 you're going to do this week. And then writing it all out, and you have your entire month planned ahead of time. And then you schedule your posts in ahead of time. I like to use Facebook Creator Studio. There's other tools out there called Planoly. There's Hootsuite. There's a number of tools, and I can get into tools. That's a whole nother class. But I like to use Facebook Creator Studio for Facebook and Instagram, and having these all scheduled out ahead of time saves you a lot of headache. I promise you, if you plan it on a month-to-month basis, it'll be a lot easier. And then you get into the routine of it, and it's more streamlined that way. So after you have your content going out, the next tip is to actually be social, right? It's social media. So engage with your followers. Even if you have to set a timer for 20 minutes a day, so you don't get stuck on there for hours, as we all know we can. 20 minutes a day, maybe it's 10 o'clock to 10:20 every day, you're going to jump into your social media channels and comment back. It really doesn't take too long just to comment with them, and your followers will appreciate that they're heard and that they're seen, and then you can answer their questions. And really, that's how you start to build up a relationship, is talking with your potential customers and your existing customers. Next is educate, entertain, and inspire. You'll hear me say this a lot because that is really the top buckets that you should be doing for your content. Target ads to your ideal audience, and we'll get into this in a few more slides, but this is really powerful too. If you have content that's really good and you just put it out on your Facebook page, only 1 to 3% of your fans are going to see that unless you put a little bit of ad money behind those ads. So I'll get into it a little bit more, but it's really powerful where you can drill down exactly who you want your content to get in front of based on age, interest, demographics, location. And I've seen the results are way better than just throwing up content and hoping people see it. And then I encourage you to test. Nothing is going to work great right away. You have to test and experiment with digital marketing. It's always changing. And your business is different than their competitors or their neighbor down the street. So test what works best from you. And then every month, measure those results, optimize, and repeat. So each and every month, I do monthly reports, and it showcases what did I do, what are the results, and how can I improve for next month. To get very clear on this very simple thing is sometimes we miss the measuring part. We just go towards the implementation, or sometimes we forget the planning and the measuring. But you really have to do all 3. You have to plan, then you have to implement, and then you have to measure so that you can optimize it for the future. And have a solid digital customer engagement strategy. So engagement is a really important ranking signal on social media. So if people engage with your content, the algorithm will see that it's interesting and valuable, and it will show it to more users. And I almost visualize it as like a ripple effect. If these users really liked it, they'll send it to more. So that can really help you grow your accounts too. So it all goes back to creating engaging content. Now, here's a contest we did. If you're from anywhere from upstate New York, you probably are familiar with Stewart's, but we ran a contest. Contests are a great way to engage with your audience and give them something away for free that they're going to love, and they might share for you with their friends as well. So it was an ice cream sale that we did, and we were going to be giving away some as well. And this campaign, I believe we actually spent $5,000 in ad spend, which isn't too much. Some small businesses spend $200 per month. So don't think you have to spend all this money, $5,000. But this campaign actually reached over 1 million people. So that did very, very well, with a cost per click, only 3 cents every time someone clicked on that. So think about how you can maybe do a contest. You can do this with a service or products. So here's another example for a yoga company. They were giving away, I believe, an experience. So as you can see, in order to enter, you have to enter your email address. So now they're in your funnel, your marketing funnel, so that you can keep in touch with them. not spam them, but maybe once a month, let them know, hey, here's our yoga events for this month. And if people unsubscribe, that's totally fine. I want you to keep on doing email until they unsubscribe or convert, because if they unsubscribe, they weren't your potential customer to begin with anyways. So think about what you can do for a contest that will engage your audience. It'll be fun and you can give something away. Another piece of content, this is just an example from napkinfinance.com, is just showcasing something that's more complex and simplifying it. So here's an example of like an infographic. If you're in a business that's maybe confusing to people, your job is to really simplify it so people understand it. So maybe you can create an infographic. And you might have heard of this tool, Canva. Canva has infographic templates that you can create. And these do really well on Pinterest, actually. One of my clients, their biggest referral traffic is actually from Pinterest. You wouldn't even think it. But maybe you can create an infographic for your business, simplifying what you do or some products, and share that on social media. Now, Canva is a free design tool if you don't have graphic designs skills. And in minutes, you can create a professional looking image. Now, I warn you, you might get stuck on here for a few hours because it's just fun to play around with and to create images. But I encourage you, if you are working on your social media content, to go to Canva and create some images. Here's some examples of stories that you can go in and just switch out the colors to match your brand colors and put in your images. Here's another example too of now you can do videos on Canva. So if you are, bootstrapping it and you don't have a big budget and you don't have a big budget for a video production company, you can just go to Canva and create a short little tutorial, maybe a 60-second video that describes what you do, who you are, what's your unique selling point, and who's your audience. So play around with Canva. I highly recommend that. And here's also, I highlighted TikTok videos. You can also do templates there as well. So encourage you to go around and play around with that as well. So targeted advertising. So this is where it gets really, really powerful with social media ads. You can target people based on their age, their gender, location. So if you're in Sarasota, Florida, and you have an ice cream shop, you want people to come into your store versus, buying something online, you can target 20-mile radius around your ice cream shop. Maybe you can send them a video showing different flavors of your ice cream, or maybe give them a coupon for that day. So location is really powerful for small local businesses. Website visitors, if someone came to your website, you can then retarget them with ads on Facebook or Instagram, reminding them to come back. And it can be just any page on your website or a very specific page on your website. For example, if someone comes to my painting or construction client and they went to the bathroom remodeling landing page, I can then send them ads specifically about before and after bathroom remodeling, everything about bathroom remodeling. So retargeting website visitors is really powerful. Email list subscribers. If you have an email list, even if it's 100 people or even if it's 5, you have to start somewhere. You can take that email list and upload it to Facebook in the back end. And if that email matches what they log in with Facebook, you can then send them ads as well. So targeting email list subscribers. You can target fans. When I say target, meaning having an ad show up in their news feed. Interests. So let's say their interests, you are selling running shoes and they're interested in running and 5Ks and the running magazine. You can put all these different things, all these different data points to say, okay, I want this to get right in front of this exact person. You can also do competitors too. So not all competitors will pull in, but if they have a large following, and sometimes you can see that if they're fans of your competitors, then you can target them as well. Birthdays is a really good one for restaurants. So, don't mind my cat. She's saying hi. Birthdays is a good one for restaurants. So if you have, your customer's birthday is the month of July, you can send them an ad on Facebook or Instagram. Hey, come on into our restaurant. Your meal is free. And they're going to bring 5 other people that are going to spend money. So birthdays is a really good one to use for targeting. And engage fans. So people who like, comment, and share on your content, you can actually put them into an audience and then target them as well. So here's a behind the scenes look of how you can target locations. So for this small local business in Glens Falls, New York, I said I want a 25-mile radius. Let's target around there. And I also did 30 to 65 years old and men and women. And I believe I put some more qualifiers on here, like homeowner, that kind of thing. And you can see the impressions were really, really high. You can also see the cost per result for ad campaigns. So it's really powerful to run these ad campaigns and see what's working, what's not. And I love looking at the numbers too. So it's kind of fun. Here's an example of another one, event and intent that we did some ads for, and it worked really well. Some local targeting. Now, when you're doing these ad campaigns, really one of the first steps is to take a step back and think, who is your ideal customer? What is their jobs? Where do they live? What are their needs? What are their struggles? Sometimes we look past this, and maybe this could be a homework assignment for you today, is just really get very, very laser targeted and very clear on who your customers are. Now, you can have different customer avatars. I have a few different ones. So they're entrepreneurs, they're side hustlers, maybe they have a corporate job, but they're trying to start something on the side, small business owners, marketing students. So list out who your ideal customers are, and that will be the basis for who you're going to be targeting on Facebook and Instagram and social media. Now, here's an example of insights. So I encourage you to look at your data for your social media to see what is working and what is not. So this client had very little engagement on their Facebook page. We started doing some boosting posts. We started doing some ad campaigns, and you can see it kind of skyrocketed and shot up. So they definitely do work, and you don't really need a big budget to start with, just to start getting some data, even if it's $50 a month. Here's another case study, 35 to 65 in 11 different locations. We spent $50, but we reached 6,400 people. So here's just more studies, 40,000 people, and their engagement shot up. So it definitely works. And I won't go through all of these, but it's really, really powerful. So another tip is to target friends of fans. So if a lot of your friends like a certain business, but you don't, they can target you. And what it shows is at the top. So here it says, 16 people, 16 of your friends like this business. So maybe you should too. It's a way of social proof. So when you target friends of your fans, this is what the ad will look like. And it showcases social proof by showing a number of your friends already like it. So those work really well also. And then here's an example of retargeting website visitors with ads. So if someone comes to your website, let's say, for example, this one is the Fern Lodge, and they landed on the elopement wedding ceremony landing page. That's a very specific service that they're looking for. So now, with the power of the pixel, it's a little piece of code that connects your website to Facebook. We can then send anyone who lands on this page specific content about elopements. Maybe we can show them a nice little video about an elopement ceremony, or maybe we can send our package pricing. So these are proven to boost your conversions because it's laser targeted to people who already were a warm audience. They showcase that they were looking for what you had to offer. Now, when it comes to Facebook ads, here's the elements that make a perfect Facebook ad. So it's visually appealing, it catches your eye. So it's a nice graphic or photo. It's relevant, so it's directed to the right person. It offers some kind of value, so a tip or a coupon or something that they want. And it has a strong CTA. So call now, message now, book now, go to the website. There's different call to actions that you can do. You can also, here's another link to how to advertise on Instagram, a guide for marketers. And you can also do story ads. These are really fun. And people like to watch stories on Instagram or Facebook. So if you check on Instagram, the advertising section on their site, they'll give you a lot of different ideas. And the last tip for social media, I believe, is to optimize your Instagram profile. So making sure within 5 seconds does someone know exactly what you do and how you stand out from other people, and also using a link tree link. And what this does is Instagram only gives you the opportunity to put in one link in your profile. However, if you use Linktree, it is free, if someone clicks on that, it opens up to another page like this, where it has different options for different pages on your site. So for me, I think, what are the top 4 pages I want someone to go to? It's going to be first the home page. It's going to be my lead magnet, which is, top 100 tips to grow your business. And contact us. And if I'm doing a contest or I have a conference coming up, I include it there. So think about what are the top 4 pages you want your audience to go to, and then create a link tree. And it will help you boost your traffic to all these different pages that you want people to go to. Okay, so next is video. We're moving quite along. So video is powerful. I think we all know that. An image is great, but a video really showcases in more depth and makes it more clear what you offer. And as you can see from HubSpot, if you don't follow HubSpot, highly recommend. It's a great resource for everything digital marketing related. You can see as the years go by, more and more people, more and more marketers are saying that it's absolutely crucial to have into your marketing strategy. And I get it. Sometimes doing video is a little nerve-wracking. It's taken me years to get on video, but once you do it, you get more and more comfortable with it. I think it was Amy Porterfield or someone said the first 100 videos that you do are going to be awful, but it's going to give you practice. And the more you do them, you're going to get more and more confident and comfortable in front of the camera. Here's an example of one of my clients. We did a behind the scenes shoot. And then we took that video and then I cut up the videos into different blog posts. And then we actually used that video that we created. I think it was a minute long, and we ran a video ad campaign to the targeted local area. And this did so well for this client. So think about what you can do, what kind of videos that would help your audience, learn a little bit more about what you do, and then maybe run a video ad on Instagram and Facebook, but target it to your ideal audience. Now, if you don't have the budget for big video production, it's totally fine. You can also create the video on Canva again here. You can do YouTube videos, TikTok videos, stories. There's a lot of different options. So definitely check out Canva. And here's an example of a landing page where we had a landing page that talks about the barn wedding venue in New York, but then we took that video and we put it on the landing page. So having copy and a video on your website is going to get people more engaged, and they might be more apt to reach out to you for more information because the video explained it a little bit more than what the copy could. So here's some tools. If you have a desktop, I like Adobe Spark is a really good one. I personally use Camtasia. There's iMovie if you're a Mac user. And then as far as apps on your phone, if you just go to the App Store, InShot is a really popular one that people use. You can put music behind it and you can edit the clips. I think it took me 10 minutes to figure out how to use. And then there's Reels and TikToks too that are becoming very, very popular now as well. So if you don't know how to do a Reel or TikTok, my best advice is just to get in there, search for your competitors, maybe in the industry, see what they're doing and get inspired, and then just play around with the app. That's the best way that I learned as well. And then you can put it on YouTube also. So if you have a YouTube channel, you can put your video on there, and then also in the description, put a link back to your website. So drive traffic off from your YouTube video to your website, get them off YouTube to your website where they can learn more. Next, we're going to cover email marketing. So curious, I'm not really paying attention to the chat, but I should have been. How many of you are using email marketing for your business? I highly recommend that you should. This was one of the things that I actually pushed to the side for so long. I see some hands being raised, which is great. Wonderful. So I actually pushed email marketing off for so long, but I shouldn't have done that. And I regret it because I was worried I only have a small list, but it grows, and using those lead magnets that we talked about earlier will help you build your email list. If you run a contest, you can build your email list. So think about an email sequence that is a series of emails that is sent automatically. You have them already created ahead of time that you can send to a prospect or a user or a customer using an automated software. So for example, someone signs up for your lead magnet the first day, day one. Welcome, here's your freebie, here's your lead magnet or your coupon or whatever it may be. Okay, 2 days later, you're going to touch base again. You're going to send them maybe a behind the scenes video or a demo. Day 7, you're going to send them a testimonial video of one of your customers raving about what they, you did for them, or a tip. So it's already set up, so you don't have to go in there manually and do this. And one thing that I recommend too is what the email list that you have, you can then upload those to Facebook, as mentioned earlier, and then retarget your email subscribers. So that's the power of actually building your email list too. And now you may be wondering, what tools do I use? Here's one that I use. I use ConvertKit. It's a simple to use email marketing tool. Absolutely love it. They make it really, really easy and not so overwhelming. And then another one, which is free. I believe this is free for 2,000 subscribers. I'm not definitely sure on that number, but it is free for just to get in and start playing around with it, is Mailchimp. You guys may have heard of this. And out of curiosity, what platforms do you guys use for your email marketing? Just curious what you guys all use. And so that's email marketing. And lastly, is SEO. And SEO, this is one of my specialties. I've been doing this for 14 years and I absolutely love it. This is the power of getting your website to rank higher in search engines. This is different from social media, because social media, they're not intentively maybe looking for what you have to offer, but with SEO and search engine optimization, they're going to Google and saying, I want exactly what you have to offer. So you want to make sure that your website ranks high and not your competitors. So I encourage you to think about what search phrases your customers are searching for. Maybe it's pizza store, Sarasota, Florida, or plumbing company, Albany, New York. Whatever it may be, what your potential customers are searching for, go to Google right now and search. And if your competitors are showing, then you need SEO, because you really want to tap into those people saying that they want what you offer. And also there's Google Suggest. So here's an example of Sarasota Italian restaurants. People are not just searching Sarasota Italian restaurants, they're also looking for Italian restaurants, Sarasota downtown, Italian restaurants, St. Armand's. So many different ideas that Google will give you. Now you can use this content or these keywords in your content, in your code. There's a lot of places we put these keywords, but definitely thinking about what your customers are searching for. And also if you're a local business, many of us are small local businesses. So leveraging Google Maps. So this is Google My Business. It's free. So all you have to do is search for Google My Business and you can create a Maps page. Now you might already have one, but you may want to think about how you can optimize it too. You want your customers to go to your Google Maps page and leave you good reviews. And so that other people can see that you are a business that people want to work with. You can add photos and videos. And there's also a section to add questions and answers. So if your customer goes to your page, this is a restaurant called Wheatfields, and says, hey, do you have happy hour? This is a great opportunity if you're like, actually, we do have happy hour specials. Here it is, and maybe a link to your menu. Just leveraging your Google Maps page as well. And so here's an example of how we can see how many people are searching for what you have to offer. So I use a free tool called Uber Suggest. It's a free keyword ranking tool, and it will tell you how many monthly searches your business has. So for example, Sarasota Italian restaurants, there's 5,400 monthly searches. People are searching for the exact phrase, Sarasota Italian restaurants. So if there's 5,400 monthly searches and you're not on page 1 of Google, you're basically invisible. You're missing out on a huge opportunity there. So you really want to get ranked number 1, 2, 3 for this keyword and push your competitors down so you get more website traffic. Or here's another example, is downtown Sarasota Italian restaurant. This is a long tail keyword phrase. There's 4 words in it, but they're very, very targeted. Someone's looking for a downtown Sarasota Italian restaurant. If you have a restaurant downtown, you want to make sure you get found. There's 320 monthly searches. And to the right, you can see there's all different kinds of other phrases you want to get found for as well. Now, here's an example of showcasing, finding out what keyword phrases your customers are searching for. Here's that example of that barn wedding venue in New York. So create a bunch of content using these keywords. You want to put them into your blog post titles, into your headers and your content. And you can see I highlighted an example of on the front end of Google where these different keyword phrases are going. It's going in your meta title, your meta description. And eventually, once you work on these different keywords, and SEO is a lot to learn. You can do the basics, but I would highly recommend having someone at least guide you or do it for you to help you rank for a bunch of different keyword phrases that your customers are searching for. You can see in this landing page, I included local keywords. So if you're a small local business, you want to make sure to include your city and location. We weren't just going after wedding barns because, in all of USA, it's going to be impossible just to rank number 1 for wedding barns. However, if we do wedding barns upstate New York, wedding barns New York, this is less competitive and there's more apt for you to rank higher. And the beauty of this is that you can track your keyword phrases. So here's a screenshot. One client, we were working on moving her up to page 1 of Google, and you can see it shows you where you initially start. So for example, TMJ wrap. They were number 15 in Google. And after some SEO was implemented, they jumped up 14 spots in Google, and now they're number 9. So each and every month you can showcase your improvement in Google. Now it takes some months to make this happen, but it's super, super powerful to get to rank number 1 in Google and get in front of people who are actually looking for what you offer. Here's another SEO campaign. This client is killing it and dominating the top spots of Google right now. We have even better results now, but it shows you how many searches per month and what keywords are moving on up in Google. So, and this is the last few slides, I promise, measuring results. I know we're running out of time. But if you don't have Google Analytics set up, I highly recommend it because Google Analytics is a free tool that shows you all of your data on your website. For example, how much traffic you're getting per month. Where is your traffic coming from? Is it coming from Facebook? Is it coming from Pinterest? Is it coming from a referral partner, not your website? There's so much you can track on Google Analytics and it's free. So here's an example. I think we did a year-over-year comparison. We did a social media ad campaigns, social media content, and SEO. We wanted to look at, did we improve? Did we get more website traffic and leads and sales versus the prior year? And here you can see tremendously. Users are up, new users are up, sessions, that means visits are up, page views are up. Organic search, that means your traffic specifically from the search engine, that's up as well. So definitely looking at your analytics. I'm jumping there every couple of days to measure monitor the data. And you can actually dive in really deep and see which content is performing the best. So here's an example. For some reason, this blog post did really, really well. So I know, okay, this did really good. How can I break this into other pieces of content? Maybe a video, an infographic, or something else, because my audience already showed me that they like this a lot. There's a lot of traffic going to it. Let's leverage that into other similar pieces of content. And you can also track goals. So goal is how many times you can do whatever you want. If someone watched the whole video or if someone filled out the form on my contact us page, it can even be someone called me. We want to make sure when you're doing digital marketing that each and every month you're getting more leads, you're getting more calls, you're getting more form fills. So that's when you set up a Google goal. And it's great to see for this example, you can see that each and every month they are increasing. So, and then content marketing. So this is the journey of the customer. So the customer's path to purchase, you want to push them down, and that's what content will do. So first is the awareness, then engagement, then they turn into a website visitor, then they turn into a lead, and then they turn into a sale. Now here's just a great way to visualize. So in the awareness stage, all the things that we were talking about in the prior of this presentation, it kind of makes sense now. The videos, the blog posts, the social media posts, the ad, the SEO, this is really to get them to be aware of your business. Next step is the engagement and getting them to your website. And that's where you nurture your audience and you provide value. This is with the lead magnets and case studies. And you're staying in touch with them with the email newsletters and webinars, maybe an event or promotion. And then eventually when they know, like, and trust you, that's when the conversion happens. So hopefully this visual will kind of help you showcase that. And then you can collaborate with other partners. And maybe you have a partner that you work with, you can get on a guest blog. Here's a graphic design company. I don't do graphic design, I do social media and SEO and digital marketing plans. So I leveraged my partners and got on their website and did an interview. So think about who maybe you can do a blog post with as well. Create a list of those FAQs and turn them into blogs, videos, posts, and stories. Here's a great tool from Digital Marketer, the ultimate list of blog post ideas. There's a link here. And there's a great tool called Answer the Public. This you put in any niche, let's say kitchen remodeling, and then it will give you, shoot out all these different questions, the who, what, why, that your customers are asking about in Google. And I use these as blog post titles. Here's an example blog post topic, share behind the scenes what you're working on, an upcoming event, share a contest, answer a customer's question. A versus B works really well. So for example, if you're a mortgage company, what's the difference between an FHA or conventional loan? People don't know this, so maybe they need some help and you can answer that, or share a gift guide. And then in your blog post, include that a form where to get new leads, include your lead magnet, like sprinkle that inside of your blog post. And here's a link, how to write a killer blog post in under 60 minutes. And then this is another tool, BuzzSumo. So analyze what content does best for your competitors on social media. So I know that was a lot of tips, but my biggest challenge for you is just to pick 2 of these today or this week and just focus on 2. Don't get overwhelmed. You have to look at the next few steps. Focus on 2, do them, and then move on to the next 2. Maybe you want to set up Google Analytics, or maybe you want to think about a video that you can create for your business. Just start with 2, 1 or 2, and then next week move on to the next one. And over time, this will compound and bring you big results. Now, if you want my presentation, I think Diane said that there was, you guys were going to send it out too. Here's a link as well, and my information. And now I'm going to open up for questions. I know that was a lot. I hope, was this helpful at all? Did you guys learn anything new, or were you inspired to try out a new tool? Question, what would be your 1 or 2 things that you would want to work on this week? I'd love to know in the chat. Maybe
actually, don't put them in the chat. Put them in the Q&A if you would. Please.
Oh, the Q&A.
The Q&A. That it's a little bit easier to handle rather than trying to go back and forth. But oh my gosh, that was amazing. We have 11 questions for you, which is a record. But they're all wonderful questions. The first one, actually, Laura, I had this question too when Amberly was talking about it, about the live chat. Do you have certain hours when your live chat is active, or should you be there 24 hours?
Great. That's a great question. So you can actually set yourself to a way, saying we're going to be live from 9 to 5 p.m. If you're after these hours, sorry, we missed you, but we'll get back to you in the morning. But then other people have virtual assistants, that maybe overseas, there's different time frames. So at night that they can help you with that too. But the one thing, I think it's called livechat.com. You can go there and they will answer a lot of questions there, but that's a good question. You don't have to have someone at all times. You can, so yeah.
Oh, it's good to know that we can sleep. That's great.
Yes.
Anonymous wanted to know, I heard that Facebook ads are no longer working as well as they used to. Why is that? And any way around it?
Yeah, so Facebook is getting a little bit more tricky with the targeting. There's different things. They're doing it to protect the user. I know, for example, you can't do like a housing ad, or you can't do anything about politics. It's really to benefit the user. But to be honest, I'm still running Facebook and Instagram ads for my clients, and they're still working really well. It's just you have to figure out what works best for you. So I wouldn't steer away from them. You just have to kind of play with Facebook, play in their sandbox, and just keep testing what works best for you.
I think I've answered this question about 5 times already, but yes, you are getting a recording of this webinar. You are getting a copy of the slides. Yes. So thank you for asking. I know Amberly went through a lot. I took copious notes while she was talking, and hope you all did too. Laura also is saying, I struggle with creating content because I feel that I'm just repeating what other people have said. How do you create original content as a new business?
Yeah, that's always a really good question. And it goes back to like remembering that no one has the same business as you. Maybe someone else does digital marketing, for me, but they're not me. They don't have, the years experience, X, Y, and Z. So that really goes back to going inward and thinking about, why is my business different? Do I have an award-winning chef, or have I been doing this for 20 years? Have I won awards? What makes you different than your competitors? There's got to be something, because there's only one you and only one of your business. So no one is cookie cutter, and just remembering that you are your own person and your own business, and there's something special about yours. So maybe you have a certain product that you created that no one else has. It's good to look at your competitors' content, but how can you tweak that to really leverage your own unique special qualities? I think thinking about that, I think sometimes we forget about that we do have special things, and we need to let people know about that.
I think it goes back to a confidence thing, don't you?
Yeah.
That yes, that's why you're in business, because you are special. So what your point of view is different than other people's.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Yara. How much time a week do you need to plan if you want to create content for a whole year or at least 3 months ahead?
See, that's so it always goes back to it's different for every person. So why not try just doing content for 1 month and then timing yourself and see how it goes. If you even want to go smaller, let's just say you want to do content for 1 week and, time yourself. Maybe you give yourself 3 hours, to create 5 posts or whatever it may be. So it's different. Some people can create a post in 10 minutes and sometimes, can take an hour. But I think it's up to you to try it out and then time yourself, and then how much you need to allocate. For me, it's like a few hours per week to create the content for clients, but it could be different. Some people spend an hour, some people spend more. So it's all up to you.
Right. You know what, Amberly, if you could stop sharing your screen, I have a couple of slides that I want to show.
Okay.
But in the meantime, Yara wants to know how many live or interviews, interactions would you have per week, and how long? No more than 20 minutes? 20 minutes sounds like a lot. What do you think?
Yeah. So how many lives or interviews? I think so. Facebook Live, again, it goes up to what you want to do with your strategy. Maybe you can do 1 per week. So you have it on a set schedule. People know you're coming live at that time. Some people do 20 minutes. Some people do an hour, from 4 to 5 p.m. So the biggest takeaway here is do what works best for you. You're the designer of your marketing strategy. So try it out and see what works best. Maybe one will do work fine, 1 20-minute a week, maybe 2 20 minutes a week, you can do it, but don't push yourself too much. I think starting small, and if you can add on, it will be better. But 1 live or interview a week shall be fine. If you get it on a set schedule every Tuesday, every Friday, whatever it may be.
Okay, good. What counts as an engagement on Facebook? Oh, yes.
Yes.
Popular question.
Yes, very popular. You're right. So comment, or share. So that's why it always goes back to actually taking a couple extra minutes from making your content from good to awesome. Think about if you were in the shoes of your potential customer, would I want to share this? Is this something so good that I want my friends to know about? So that's why it's really important to have a solid engagement strategy, so that you're creating content that's shareable, that's likable, and that someone wants to comment on. It can even be an open-end question. Do you like product A, or do you like product B? Do you like our vanilla smoothies or chocolate? It's simple, but it's an open-end question, and someone's going to comment. So yeah, think about how you can get your audience to comment, like, and share.
Okay. Laura's a lot of questions for you.
Thank you for the questions, by the way.
As a career coach, most of my work is done one-on-one with clients. I have no idea what kind of videos I could make.
Yeah, so great question. And I can relate to you here because I work one-on-one with my clients as well. And when I'm stuck, I really just go back to what is my client's struggle? Why are they coming to me? They're coming to me because they need something. They need help with something. So if you can showcase that transformation of when your client came to you, and then after 1 or 2 months, what is that transformation? Are they more clear on X, Y, and Z? Do they have less anxiety? Do they have a clear plan? Showcase that transformation and then really go back to those FAQs. Or maybe it's just you set up your cell phone and you're having a Zoom conversation and you're just capturing what you're already doing. You don't have to make up something new. Just capture what's already going on in your business and maybe showcase 1 minute behind the scenes of you interacting with your client. There's got to be some kind of transformation as a coach that you can illustrate too. Maybe it's a video, you talking to your client and showcasing what they were feeling or what were their struggles before. And now it's 3 months later, and how have you helped them? It's almost a video testimonial, so to speak. There's lots of different, I love creating content ideas. So I can go off for hours, but I'll just stick with that one. Think about the transformation and how you can showcase that.
Laura has one more question.
Okay.
Is it still valuable to have a YouTube channel, even though there are so many already?
Good question. And that can be a challenge for us, right? Like the market's saturated. How is my voice going to be out there? But again, it always goes back to you have something different than other people offer. And if you don't, think about something that you can offer that's different. And YouTube is really powerful, especially for SEO. Google owns YouTube. So by having a YouTube video up there and a channel, that alone is going to help leverage your rankings in the search engines. And then also many people are still going to YouTube and asking questions. I know I use that. YouTube is the best teacher for me. I've learned a lot off of YouTube. And then once you answer their question in a video, at the bottom, include a link. Remember, get them off of YouTube back to your website. So yes, absolutely. I still highly recommend having a YouTube channel as well.
Good. What are your thoughts on SEO when using a Shopify run website?
Yeah, so I love Shopify. Actually, some of those e-commerce screenshots from there were from Shopify. Definitely, because Shopify is an e-commerce website, meaning you sell products online. And most likely people are going to be searching for those products. So I highly recommend going to use that free keyword tool called Uber Suggest and start typing in your products and see how many monthly searches people are searching for that product. Maybe it's blue heels or blue suede heels. Then taking that insight that you have and then plugging it into your SEO plugins. That's more technical. I do trainings. Maybe the next training will be on SEO for Score. Who knows? But yeah, you definitely need SEO, especially if you're selling multiple products online. And I really do like Shopify. WooCommerce is another e-commerce platform, but Shopify is great as well. And you definitely need SEO. And there's all analytics in there too as well.
We keep answering questions and they keep coming in.
Okay.
From Jessica, first thing we want to do is optimize the website. We're thinking adding a landing page for the local market.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Definitely a landing page for the local market. And that's a great idea. You're ahead of the game. If you have multiple local markets, let's say, for example, a company, a small business that's in multiple cities, then you can create a landing page for each city. And in each landing page, you're going to put the city names, you're going to pull in a Google map, you're going to put the city names in the headers, in the content, you're going to put testimonials with people, comma, that city. So yes, if you have a small local business and you're trying to get found in a specific area, even if it's Venice, if you go say you have an ice cream shop in Venice and Sarasota, you want to create landing pages for each one of those locations and really optimize it. There's a lot of advanced stuff too. You can do local schema. It's an advanced code that you put in the back of the site that will help tell Google that you're in this location. There's all these different technical tricks that we can do as a digital marketer to help optimize you for a local area. And once you start dominating Google for your local area, you're gonna get more website traffic, and it will increase your leads and sales as well. Local marketing is what I love to do. So yeah, I can answer questions about that all day.
I've been planning to add a blog aspect to my site, writes Lincoln. What's a good place to get good research data for posts?
Yes. Yeah. So great question. And there's a slide in here you can see from Digital Marketer. It was like I forgot the number, like 100 something blog post titles. So checking out that link, that has helped inspire so many different blog post ideas. Answer the public, I think it was the second to last slide in the presentation. You can type in any industry and it will showcase all these questions people are asking about your industry. So then you can use those specific questions as your blog post titles. You can just go from, ask your salespeople. They're like on the ground, like boots on the ground, like ask them, what are people asking you all the time? Those can be blog posts. There's a lot of different ideas. Showcase your best employees or your top 10 selling products. There's so many different blog post ideas that you can do, but definitely think about what's going to help your audience.
What do you think about car advertisements? I think these are those magnetic signs having QR codes, website links on your vehicle.
Wait, can you read that again? I don't quite get it.
What do you think about that, a form of advertising where you have a magnetic sign on your vehicle that has maybe a QR code on it or a link to your website?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for like brand awareness, getting yourself out there. I think it would be more beneficial just for people who are walking by your car, because when they're driving, I don't know if they can snap the QR code really fast.
I'd like to think not.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to maybe track that. Actually, it could be trackable because you can snap the QR code and go to a specific landing page that only has it that's linked to that one. I've never really done that before, but my answer is, hey, why not test it? You can test it. I'm really big on the SEO and social media part, but hey, it might work for you guys. So it might be worth testing.
I have a B2B type of business, says Tatiana. So our products are for commercial business clients, not for consumers. I have found social media and paid ads ineffective for this type of market. Any tips for B2B businesses and products?
Yes, and this is a really good question too, because B2B and B2C you might have to implement different strategies. So for you, I would recommend maybe spending more of your time on LinkedIn. I know LinkedIn has like a premium version where you can get a lot more laser targeted and finding your audience, but joining different LinkedIn groups that maybe your audience is in, even searching for like the job title plus location. So for example, I don't know specifically who your audience is here, but like, let's say it's B2B and you want to get on a phone call with someone. You can look up specific job descriptions or job titles and their location in LinkedIn, or just doing like a 1 hour LinkedIn training on YouTube, looking up really leveraging your LinkedIn skills. So I think LinkedIn is really, really powerful. You can still do Facebook and Instagram ads with it if you're targeting the right demographics as well. But for B2B, I've seen that LinkedIn works really good. And actually TikTok, if it's fitting, TikTok is blowing up right now. So people are getting a lot of business off that as well. And you don't have to dance around and be silly on TikTok. You can just leverage like your expertise and things that help your audience and just use it as a place to showcase tips for those other businesses that you're connecting with. And then just seeing where your competitors are at. I'm really big on competitor analysis and seeing what's working for them and how you can make it even better. So yeah, definitely looked into LinkedIn as well.
I'm glad we don't have to look like robots on TikTok.
Exactly, no.
So Pauline has been asking whether you had a whole list of all of the links that are in your webinar that she could have. And I did mention that she'll be getting the slides, and it wouldn't be that difficult for anyone to put that list together, but to ask Amberly to take the time to do it, I think is, she's already given them to you. So
I'd be happy to do that if you want. It's definitely in here, but I can just make a quick Word doc of like what it is, what the tool is, and the link to, and I can send that over to you if you want.
All right. Well, if you have an opportunity to do that, that would be great. And we will include it in the email with the link to the video.
I'll do that right after this and send it over.
Oh, okay. This is the same question about the advertisements on your vehicle. then there was one who wondered about do magnetic signs cause an insurance issue? That's possible.
That's what I was
I
wondering. I'm
think
like,
that's beyond your scope, is it?
yeah, that's not so much digital. But I think her question was, can it be tracked? And the one way I would do it is doing one specific QR code, creating one landing page that's only created for people coming off of that, so that you can track the number of hits and then leads and then calls from that one landing page. So it is possible. It's not really in my wheelhouse, but it is possible.
Good. I think we reached the end. Woof, that was impressive.
Oh, thank you.
You did an amazing job. I heard, and I wrote this down, that you volunteered to do a tools class.
Oh, another class? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I would love
Yes.
to do SEO, having a digital marketing strategy, like putting your plan together. I love to teach this stuff as well as do it. So yeah, let me know.
Okay, well, you're on my schedule now, and we will find a day for either just a tools class or
Yeah.
SEO or
Sure.
another topic that you
Yeah.
suggest. And that brings me to the slide that I think is on your screen. You will be getting a survey and you will be rating this presentation. Remember, a 9 or a 10 is what we're looking for. I think that I would rank Amberly at 11 if I had an opportunity to do that, maybe even a 12. But in that survey, what can we do to improve? And most importantly, what other topics are you interested in? So in that survey, if you say, I'd like an SEO class, or I'd like a tools class, or I'd like whatever, we will attempt to get that to you. If without further ado, I think before anyone asks any more questions, thank you so much for sharing your incredible knowledge and your skills with our group. I know that it was well received, and we look forward to having you again.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.